1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Grandpa,
Yes, honey?
why were you saying that?
Was I saying what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
Yeah.
I'm practicing how to count. Can Grandpa practice how to count?
I don't practice it. I know my ABCs and my letters.
I'm trying to. I'm just chiming in, doing it live, talking to the things them. Why is it I don't see this live up here? Am I gonna need to get? Okay, let's should go back to. All right, I just kind of reset it, and let's turn that volume off. We got a live happening here, guys. We got a live popping. Let me just see. And there it is. And I'm trying to figure out which one of these. Wagwan, beautiful people. Well, I'm glad you guys are here. It's Nino from Nino and Lo. I'm just checking out. Let me just turn the volume down on this puppy here. I don't really need to hear myself. So I'm here today just, on the live, just talking up the things then because as you guys know, I don't really do live by myself. I generally have Lo with me. This is my first live, my first venture. This is like having your first baby, your first child, because I don't do live by myself. I do live with Lo, as you guys know, and she just so happened to, work a night shift last night, so she's resting right now. The girls are asleep. And funny enough, though, that my granddaughter just said to me a short while ago, I said to her, I'm going to go live. You want to come on with me? And her response to me was, but Granny's not here. And I said, but I'm going to do it by myself. She goes, but Grandpa, you can't do it by yourself. Hey? She said, you can't do it by yourself, Grandpa. I said, well, Grandpa's going to try. Here, speaking of the devil, here she is with me right now. Do you want to sit down? Do you want to sit with me? Honey, come on. Do you want to sit with me or not? You want to sit with Grandpa? No? You're gone? So she just kind of checked out. She don't want to hang with us. But yeah, so I just want to know what you guys are up to today. What's going on? What's popping? What are you up to? What are you doing? Where are you? Hey, interestingly enough, I was watching a live earlier, and it was one of her YouTube channels that appears to be some of her families, brothers and sisters out of Africa. And it was a really, really good experience, really good live. But I was always also curious to know where everyone was chiming in from. And right now, it's important to actually build a community as we go through with this process of building YouTube and building our YouTube channel. And it's by it's a feat in itself because it's extremely challenging, requires a lot of work. Hey, Sonia, what's up, Sonia? What's going on? Sonia's chiming in from North Carolina, south of the 44th parallel. Welcome to the channel. We appreciate you. Salutation, my dear Botas. Welcome. Welcome to the channel. Yeah, so just want to know what you guys are up to today. What's going on in your neck of the woods? What's the weather like? How are things going? I like to do this, and when we do our live, we just like to leave it up to our viewers and our audience as to what it is you want to talk about, what direction you want to go in, where you want, Tiki, as we say. You know, what's going on? What is that? Jag3 fam. What up, fam? Good to have you here. Always welcome, man. We're all family in this house. We're just talking about as we go through our day-to-day struggles, man. We go through the day-to-day struggles of life, of family, of, big up John Tosh. You know it go. It's gray out here in Saga. Big up to Saga. Plan to make some curry mango. Well, check this out. John Tash is making some curry mango up in the west side of Toronto in Mississauga. Big up yourself. We appreciate you guys, man. All you guys coming along. You're probably just chilling at home, enjoying the day, or you're at work, just, doing the man's chores. But wherever you are, just chime in. Let's start the things. Let's have some fun in the afternoon. Life is way too stressful to be, want to take it hard. This is a little escape. If you're at work, just take a break. Chime in. Call a friend, call a cousin, call a sister, call your mom, call your pops. Tell them to chime in. Let's just have us a nice little conversation this afternoon. We talk up the things, enjoy each other's company, and just, get rid of some of the stresses that we're dealing with. Because right now, there's just so much going on right now throughout the world. I was watching a program last night where they're making reference to J eggs. I like that. J eggs sounds better. I remember that, J eggs. Big up yourself. They're talking about who's gonna blink first as they go through this whole economical crisis that the world is going through. Now it appears to be, U.S. versus China. So one of the questions asked to a Chinese delegate is who's going to blink first, as Donald Trump imposes a 150% tariff on China, and China retaliating with 125%. Now we have the Americans lowering their tariff requirement. And so when the gentleman was asked who's going to blink first, we said, it's no point you asking me that question. The Americans already blink. I said the sheer fact that he brought it down is him blinking, but he's now realizing that, the deck's stacked against him, Yeah, I agree with you, Jantosh. This world is messed up. This world it's in a place right now that we're not used to, because one of the biggest problems that we all face is the uncertainty. Okay, we don't know from one day to the next, from one week to the next, what is going to happen. Whether we're going to see an elevation in food prices, or we're going to see an elevation in just various living expenses. We don't know. As they say, as my good friend Jay Egg is saying here, that the orange will kneel first. And I'm most certainly referring to the orange turd himself. But yeah, it's almost like the rest of the world versus America, and that in itself is stressful to anyone that's out there, working or trying to feed their family or put their lives together, buy a home, whatever the case may be. Everything, all prices have just been elevated to a level that we've never seen before. And that in itself brings forth a lot of stresses in our lives. Just knowing that there's this level of uncertainty that we're all dealing with. Well, how do you guys feel about that? Share your thoughts with me. As we sit and malinger about this whole world crisis situation, there's so many other things going on, but sadly enough, though, guys, with all the things that are going on in the world, very rarely do you find, conversations about happy things. It's always about something that is a crisis of some kind. Whereas we have to alter our lives to suit. You're absolutely right, J.A. He's saying that if you look at everything that is made in America versus everything that is made in China, you'll most likely find most things in your home are made in China, simply because Chinese have the whole structural integrity to promote and elevate manufacturing. And so what is happening is they export to places like, North America, as North America is considered one of the largest world's consumer of goods. So they need America to buy the goods, but we also need China to produce the goods. So if we're levying, tariff against each other, we're literally just slashing each other's throats. We're not doing each other any justice, because at the end of the day, yes, we can bring forth all the jobs in America, especially all the technology related jobs. We can ensure that all the iPhones, the technology, and all that is assembled in America, if you're prepared to pay $5,000 for an iPhone or $10,000 for an iPhone, because that's what's going to eventually happen. The cost of producing this item is going to be it's going to be elevated to a point where it does not become affordable anymore. Okay, because if it is made in China, yes, the jobs are in China. They have the infrastructure in place to produce, but it keeps the costs at a certain level because of the low cost to produce. Bring it to America with all the trade unions and all the other levels of taxations that applies. We now have an item that's going to cost so much money that there's not going to be anyone that can afford to buy them, and that includes homes. So you get a lot less people owning homes. You get a lot less people being able to go to the grocery store and bring back home any more than four or five items for $100. Right now, you guys, if you go into a grocery store or you go clothes shopping, you realize within yourself that these items are elevated. They're very expensive to begin with. You know, they're very, very expensive. I said this about 10 years ago that one of these days, one of these fine days, you're going to have to be a rich person in order just to eat food. Okay, and it's coming down to that. As you see, you go into a grocery store with $100. Look at the amount of items that you come out with versus the amount of items that you would have come out with 10 years ago or 15 years ago. It's quite a vast difference. So we have to bear in mind that things are becoming much more expensive and much more unaffordable to the common person out there. And these guys fighting their little childish game, which levying taxes against or tariff against each other, it's only costing us, the consumers. It's costing us a lot more than it did, and that in itself is, it's crazy. You know, let me move to warmer climate and grow my own food. Hey, Gentosh, I completely agree with you there. I completely agree with you. One of the things that Lo always talks about on this program is that we have to start growing our own and eating what we grow. And a lot of that will force people to stay locally within the scope of locally grow. I was in a supermarket. I didn't mention this a few days ago that I was in a supermarket the other day. And over to one side, you see strawberries and strawberries out of California. And to the right of me is another sign that says strawberries, but from Canada. And I actually picked the ones that say Canadian simply because, I want to keep the money right here in the country, and I want to ensure that the money rolls over instead of being exported elsewhere to a guy that is trying to cause us a lot of distress. And sadly enough, that whole process, as Donald Trump was once interviewed about this, and he had no clue that when he levied tariff against a certain country, that tariff will be paid by the person importing the goods. So essentially, what he's doing is costing Americans more by taking that kind of stance. And again, equally, when the Canadian government retaliates with a certain level of tariff, it's the Canadians that have to pay that for importing goods. So it's all about the importation of goods. You know, we're trying to preserve eat what we grow and trying to preserve as much as we can. Absolutely, I totally support that. And Lo is, as you know, she's a gardener, and one of the things that she's really promoting this year is growing a lot of consumable items. So more so than growing, a lot of flowers and plants and so on, as we've done in the past, growing items that we can consume, food items. It doesn't matter what it is. So don't forget, guys, just go ahead and tap that screen twice to give me a thumbs up. YouTube love to have thumbs up. Follow the algorithm and just give me some hearts. Show me some love. And let me know what's going on in your neck of the woods, guys. I know there's a lot of people out there just sitting in the weeds, listening. Just say hi as you come into the room. Say hello. Let me know you're out there. I was thinking about Easter's coming up, and I wanted to go out and possibly get some fish so I can do a video on, the whole method of frying the fish and preparing it. As we do in the Caribbean, we tend to get a lot of fish ready. Eat up a lot of fish. Friday's Good Friday, as you know, and a lot of people do follow this tradition where on Friday, on Good Friday, a matter of fact, they don't eat any kind of meat. They tend to want to eat a lot more seafood and, anything from the ocean. Lobster, crab, you name it. So same thing traditionally in Jamaica where I grew up, we don't eat meat on Fridays. Good Friday rather is a day that we consume a lot of fish. We have bun and cheese, the spice bun with cheese. I have me my bun and cheese in the cupboard. As a matter of fact, I took it up on myself and I bought two tins of cheese and two buns over the last few months. I bought the buns just a couple weeks ago, but over the summer I bought the cheese because they're little tins of cheese and I think they can last for 100 years if you ask me. And one of them's already gone. We've already gone through one of the bun, one cheese, and I'm purposefully holding on to the second one for Good Friday because I know the minute that I open that cheese or cut that bun, it's gone. Everybody in the household is going to start going at it. But if I leave it intact, they will grant it a little bit of mercy and make it last a little longer. So my friend Jantash is asking, which bun did you buy? Well, interestingly, you should ask that because in the past, I've always bought the HTB bun. That was always my thing. I grew up on HTB. But recently, I decided through a friend of mine, he said, try the Maxfield. And let me tell you, I was impressed. I was impressed with the Maxfield bun to the point where I think I'm going to stick to this one. So the Maxfield, I run things in 2025. Easter 2025, Maxfield is the... So let me know, where are you guys from, though? Where's everybody in the house from? John Tash, I know you're in Saga, but I know there's people out there in the weeds. And tell me where you're from, guys. Where you guys chiming in from? I made, the other day I was doing a bit of cooking, and I made a meatball Wellington. J Egg, Wicked J Egg, welcome from Georgia. Once again, south of the 44 parallel. Welcome. We appreciate you. We love having you guys here. Now, do me a favor, J Egg. Ding up a friend and tell them to come into the channel. Check it out. Andrea, welcome to the channel, Andrea from Simcoe County. Big up yourself right here in Ontario. We love you guys. Just keep chiming in. So I was saying that I made a meatball Wellington the other day. And it's just a bit of a spin-off from a beef Wellington, which is a more, expensive item. Generally, when you're making a beef Wellington, you use a filet mignon, which is quite pricey. I wanted to make something that was economically affordable because, as you know, nowadays we have to conserve as much as we can. So what I did was I just took I took some ground beef. It was a combination of ground beef and ground pork. So I use an extra lean ground beef and then just a regular ground pork, and I combined the two, add a whole bunch of seasoning and spices to it, as well as some eggs, a couple of eggs, some breadcrumbs just for binding, and I got all that together, and I prepare the meatball. I kind of put it on the stovetop with some little bit of oil in the pan, and just to give it some color, brown it all the way around. And I know it's not going to be cooked, so what I did then was once they're all browned equally all around, golden brown, I just stick them in the oven at about 350 degrees for about 15 minutes. Now, once it's all cooked, but here's the interesting part. I was planning to do this beef Wellington, but you have to be of the realization that if you start adding a hot product or even a warm product to puff pastry, it's just gonna break it down. It's gonna break down the puff pastry because puff pastry is something that requires a lot of fat, a lot of lard or butter to create. So you put something warm on that, it's just gonna break it down. So I literally had to take those meatballs, cool them off in the cooler overnight, and then come back the next day and start adding, wrapping it with the puff pastry. But what I did inside of the puff pastry, I also had some chopped mushrooms. So I seasoned up my mushrooms, make sure I had some onions in with that, saute the mushrooms with some fresh thyme, salt and pepper, and just a wee bit of chili pepper, and got all that prepared on day one, cooled everything overnight, and then assemble it on the second day. So you just get your puff pastry. Now you can either choose to make the puff pastry, or you can, get something in the store. They do have some vol au vent shells or puff pastries in your frozen food section of your local supermarket. And once you put that together, okay, you wrap the puff pastry onto the meatballs. With the inside of that, you have your chopped mushroom combination with your onions. You also put a slice of mozzarella cheese inside of that. You cover it all up. You put it on a baking sheet with some parchment paper. You beat another egg and you create a bit of an egg wash. You want to just brush it over top of that so you get a nice golden coat. Stick it in your oven at 350. It came out absolutely delightful, and you can just serve that with a little bit of tomato sauce, maybe put some pasta onto the side. Absolutely delicious dish. It worked out well, and I think when I did that dish, I actually did it as a bit of an experiment because when I make a video of a certain dish, I like to run an experiment first to see if there are any little glitches that's involved, any little challenges I may come across that I have to fix before I actually do a video of it to ensure that I, remove all the kinks from my audience. All right. Time to get back to work. My man J Egg is heading back to work. Nice of you to stop by. All right. Yeah, just keep telling a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. We appreciate you, man. Appreciate all you guys coming in. Yeah, so in doing so, that meatball Wellington is a great little family dish that one can create for their family, over a 2 day period. With that, like I said, you just, boil a little pasta. You add a little pasta to that, and man, you got glory. You got glory on your side. The family is going to be very impressed by the fact that you're telling them that you're preparing a Wellington for them. They didn't hear the meatball part, but once they cut into it, they're gonna just get a burst of nothing but flavors and tastefulness. Happy food. Happy food, happy people. Yes, yes. So right now it looks like I got about 5 people out there. People in the background. Andrea Lawrence. What's going on in your neck of the woods, Andrea? How's the weather in Simcoe County? Are you at work? Are you at home? What's going on? Yeah, yeah, Jantosh, low sleep and low work last night. Um, Things are good now with Andrea up in Simcoe County. Are you at work or at home? You just chilling at work, chilling at home. Funny enough, I'm looking out my window and I there's a tow truck just pulled up to move a vehicle away. That vehicle arrived here a few hours ago on a flatbed. It arrived here on a flatbed. I thought it was kind of odd, the vehicle arriving on a flatbed. I thought, how are you gonna put a broken down vehicle in the? Let's see, give me 1 second there. Somebody just came to my door. Sorry. So I really thought, how are you gonna bring a broken down vehicle on a flatbed to just leave it on the street? Well, they did that this morning. Another tow truck just came to pick it up. I thought it was a bit of a waste. You pay money for a tow truck to drop it off. Now you're paying for a tow truck to now take it to a mechanic to get it fixed. So why on earth didn't you just do that in the first place? It would have saved yourself a lot of time. So Andrea is saying to me that she's at home today, just maxing and relaxing. Big up yourself, juicing with Jay in the house, saying hi. Yes, man. Gentosh in Farmer Window, big up in Farmer Window style. But I am here today running solo, guys. Lo is sleeping. She had a night shift last night. The night nurse have to take care of the patients. So she's just resting. I think she's going back tonight as well. So I am here, manning the ship. I try and run a look alive, and this is the first time of me doing a live, never mind a live by myself, a live period without Lo. She orchestrated, set it all up, organized it. I just take a seat and we just do the things. Whether we're doing the informal window or just an impromptu live. But yeah, man, I'm just here, just chilling and want to know what everybody's out there is doing. Andrea chilling at home. My boy Jen Tosh is here, keeping it going, keep the wheels turning. And we appreciate all you people that are stopping by. Once again, don't forget, tap the screen in front of you twice. Give me a thumbs up. YouTube love the algorithm. Love the tapping thing. Yeah, man, you know it. Lord always take control. Listen, man. As a man, I'll tell you this right up. I may think I'm the boss, but I know she's the boss, and that's cool. That's cool. You know, certain aspects she's the boss. Some certain aspect I'm the boss, but we're both boss, and we don't struggle. We don't struggle for power. There's no struggle for power here. Power is there, man, because with great power come great responsibilities, right? So when you're taking the wheel, you got to make sure you take the wheel and you got to take the responsibility of getting that vehicle moving straight forward, right? So anytime you want to take it, you're welcome to have the wheel. So, I think I'm the boss, but I know Lo is the boss. Oh boy. Yes, Andrea, you know it. You know it, Andrea. From way back in high school, Lo was always the tech boss thing. Yeah. Yeah, she's always been a leader. There's no question about that. And she, in the case of, riding out the storm of the YouTube and doing the work and putting in the work, man, she put in some work. That woman put in work. You can rest assured. I actually saw her through the window when she came home this morning, and little granddaughter was standing at the door waiting for her to come inside. And I was quite surprised when she was taking a while. I said she should be at the door by now. And my granddaughter's still standing there, and she was nowhere to be seen. And all I kept on thinking to myself is, she's gone to the back to check on the back, to check on the plants, whatever it is out there. Now, she's not necessarily planting stuff outside now, but she's always curious to know what is budding, what is coming up, what is flowering. And throughout the entire season, she'll always do that first as a routine. She'll make her way to the back. And so she came back this morning to say, hey, I think we have a skunk roaming around out there last night. And I did see a skunk 2 houses down at my neighbor's last night. So I guess for some reason he made it to my backyard. And what I'm hearing though is that he's behind the shed. So I'm gonna have to go get some ammonia at some point today and just fling some ammonia back there. Just disturb his groove. Get some jizz or some ammonia and just make him just burn him out. Because they don't like that smell, you know. So we're gonna have to take some retaliatory action against it. I can't afford to have no skunk hanging around me because last thing you want is to stumble onto a skunk and get sprayed. Because believe it or not, guys, skunks are some of the dumbest animals you could ever come across. They are dumb beyond beliefs. And not only are they dumb, they're also blind. They cannot really see properly. They can only see straight ahead. So you see a skunk walking, and the only time a skunk will detour from the direction they're walking in is when their head bump into something. Then they'll turn left or right. Okay. Notice the movement of a skunk. They always move close to the building. Right? Whatever structure that they're moving, you're not going to see a lot of them just moving out in the open. They will always be next to something, because that something is going to be their kind of like their eye dog to show them the way. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Gentosh. Sometimes they dig in the garden, cause a lot of disruption. If you've got animals, you got to be aware they can spray them. And say, my man said, rip out the garlic. Well, you know what, Gentosh? I'm gonna try the Gia's thing still. I'm gonna try that. I got a little store up the street that I bought some from last year, the J's and the ammonia. And I've also got some cayenne pepper. Hopefully there's no rain in the next few days. I want to fling some of this back there and see if I can just chase them out of there. I won't be able to make it because from how the way the shed is set up, I can't get to the very back. I can only get to the side. So I'm going to throw as much down there as possible. And I think the just the odor from the ammonia or the J's is going to disrupt their flow. Because the whole idea here is that I'm not going to get rid of him completely, but I am going to discourage him for wanting to take up residence on my property. Right? Yeah, man. I'm gonna just discourage them altogether. The whole point is just to discourage them. It's the same thing. I had a lot of skunks roaming, not a skunks, but raccoons roaming around on my property. And my goal was just to disturb the flow. When they used to use my backyard as a super highway, I decided to put some traps out there, catch them. And I didn't do a bad job. I think I caught 12 raccoons and 3 possums out there. Never knew I had freaking Discovery Channel back there, but apparently I did. There was just a whole lot of them. And I am actually a little afraid to go out there to take a look at the lawn, because it's the second time Lo has mentioned to me that, animals or critters have been out there digging up. So I have to think about either replacing that whole section or somehow leveling it off and reseeding it. And speaking of reseeding, I've had a bag of fertilizer as well as a bag of grass seeds, a large bag of grass seeds. I think I picked it up for about $50 at Costco. Been sitting in my vehicle now for a good 3 weeks. There's no rhyme or reason for me to bring it out just yet. There's some work I got to do on the lawn. I've got to dethatch my grass. And if you guys are not familiar with that, if you got grass or know other family members that have grass, there's an item called a dethatcher. And what I do with this item, I've also got a video. If you guys refer back to some of my lawn care videos, you'll see the dethatcher. Picked that up on Amazon for less than $200 a few years ago. And what it does is it really gets in there, and it's almost like a comb. It's almost like a rotating comb. So it has little pricklies on the end, and it disturbs all the grass and all the impurities that you have on the grass. It just rakes it all up. Because as much as you look at your grass, you'll think the grass is fine, but once you get the dethatcher going and realize that there are a lot of impurities that's underneath that. Whereas when you start laying down grass seeds or laying down fertilizer, all these little pellets of fertilizer or grass seeds will never touch the soil on the ground, because you have all these other items, whether it's dry leaves or pine cones or needles or all sorts of stuff underneath there. So the pellets are not able to get to the soil in order for the grass seeds to germinate. The whole idea in getting the seeds to the soil is to allow germination. But all that stuff is just going to sit on top of that bed of nonsense that's down there. And it'll never reach the grass or never reach the soil. It will never germinate. And then we all look at each other and wonder, why didn't my grass grow? Or why wasn't my grass fertilized? Well, this is exactly why. Is not having the grass seeds make contact to the soil, not having the pellets of fertilizer making contact to the soil to fertilize it. You know, that in itself is a problem. So just be aware. Just be aware of that. And if you can go out and pick up one of these dethatchers or make a suggestion to your neighbor, they work like a charm, man. They absolutely work like a charm. I had a guy at work the other day. He ran up to me, says, "I've been looking for you. What is that thing you're using on that video that you made?" And of course, he was talking about a dethatcher. So I gave him all the information about the dethatcher. I'm sure he's gone out and got one, and he's gonna be amazed by it because it does work. It works really well. Works really well. So tell me what's happening here, guys. We still got Andrea out there, juicing with Jay. I'm sure it's still hanging around. Jen Tosh, yeah, man, you're keeping the wheels turning, baby. I appreciate you. Appreciate you guys sticking with us. Come check us out in the afternoon. But you know, what do you guys? What plans do you have for the rest of the afternoon? What do you plan to prepare for dinner? I just go out there and I just prepare whatever. I'm a guy. I'm a moody kind of eater. So whatever it is that I feel like eating at that moment, that's what I'm gonna eat. That's what I'm gonna prepare. You know. But I have one of those innate skills. I can just jump in the kitchen and I can have a dish ready within 5 minutes. You know, I can have a dish ready within 5 minutes. It's not gonna take me very long. You can get a pasta dish going. I made a wicked pasta dish the other day, and it was a simple pasta. It was so simple. It was just olive oil and garlic, some freshly grated Parmesan cheese, and just a bit of chili pepper. And it was just unbelievably delicious. Had some leftover. 2 days later, I was still eating this stuff, man. Because at the end of the day, it's um, it's a simple dish. It took me all of 5 minutes. So what do you guys have? What do you guys have planned? I know my man Gentosh was gonna be currying some mangoes this afternoon. Yeah, that sounds kind of delicious still. You know, now that we should be getting a lot more mangoes in the supermarkets. Now that mango season is gearing up in the Caribbean, it's a time for them to be bringing in some more mangoes. What? Andrea's on the Nana duty. Pasta and steak. Steak bites for dinner. Wicked. That sounds delicious. Pasta and steak. Yeah, well, I'm always on Nana duty. Funny enough, though, that I have the two girls with me today, and the younger of the two, she knows that around 12 o'clock, I'm gonna say, okay, it's time for bed. So the minute I utter the words, it's time for bed, she starts fussing and she screams. But I know her routine. She's gonna scream and kick, but the minute I put her into bed and I say lie down, and I cover her up, out like a light. Within 5 minutes, if I decide to go downstairs and grab her bottle to come back, she'll be fast asleep before I get back. So I know the routine. She's gonna kick up a fuss, but I know she's also tired because she has to get up at the crack of dawn with her parents so they can get her dressed and drop her off here before they head off to work. So with that, it means she has to get up mega early. So I don't know. I don't care how much she wants to fight to sleep. I know she's going to go to sleep and she wants to get some rest. But that's the thrill and the pleasure of being a grandparent. Having your grandbabies around to take care of. And it's very different though. It's very different than when you're a parent. Being a grandparent is very different than when you're a parent. Because when you're a parent, you lay down the law of the land with your children, and but when you're a grandparent, I think our mission in life is to spoil the grandkids because that's all we seem to do. We're not worried about discipline because that's a parent's job. We're just worried about sneak the chocolate or the lollipop to them when they're really not supposed to have it, but just sneak it to them. We spoil those babies, but that's part of life though. But I'll be honest with you though, if I knew that it was this much joy to have grandkids, I would have forego having kids altogether and go straight to grandkids. I know it's not possible, but it's still worth a thought. But I'm just that's the level of enjoyment that I get out of being a grandfather. I just love it. I love the relationship with my grandkids. I love the whole, they rely on you for guidance. And grandma and grandpa are always special to grandkids, as grandkids are special to them. You know, absolutely, Andrew. I agree with you. Grandkids are awesome, and we do spoil them. We spoil them beyond belief, and that's what we do. That is what we're supposed to do. You know, and truly enjoy it. Enjoy doing it. Hey, Zuri, I heard you.
Yes.
Come here, baby. You want to come say hi?
Yeah, just real quick.
Okay, come say hi. Oh, you see that? My granddaughter says, "Y'all come say hi real quick," as if I'm taking her. I'm taking her away from something important. Come on, baby. Come on. Hey, come on. Let me turn this way so I can just pick you up. Up, jump. Yeah, all right. There she is. That's little Zuri Rose. Say hi. Say hi to everyone. That's Zuri Rose. Are you gonna wave? You gonna wave off your hand? I think they get the idea now, honey. I think they get the idea. You're just waving and waving and waving. Are you gonna go? You going? Look, look, they're saying hello. Say hello. Say hi. Andrew's saying hello to you, mama. All right. Are you in the playroom? Are you in the playroom? Don't make a mess, okay? And put away the toys when you're done. Thank you. Yeah, that's my first grandchild right there, Zuri Rose. She's a bundle of joy, and she has. I know from the time she was. Oh my goodness! From the time she could walk, she's been out back with her grandma planting and you know with the garden hose helping her to water the plants. She doesn't mind. She doesn't mind getting down and dirty. I'm telling you. I do recall though last summer, one of the things that she did last summer is she planted a strawberry patch with her grandmother. And I remember just being out front, and Zuri came out. My son and I were sitting in the front, and she came out with this ball of excitement that I've never seen in her before. And she grabbed her dad and she goes, "Daddy, Daddy, come, come, you got to see this, you got to see this." And she ran down the pathway, and her dad was lagging a little behind. And she ran up to him, grabbed his hand, and started dragging him and brought him all the way to the other side of the house where there was her strawberry patch, and there was a strawberry on there. And she was so excited that she actually planted this herself, and now she's able to reap the benefits of planting her own strawberry patch. And that was just, I mean, the look on that child's face when she saw that one strawberry growing, that just, I'm sure that just gave her a love for want to plant things and watch it grow. And like anything in life, you plant it, you nurture it, you water it, you feed it, you get results, you get reward at the end. And that's just life in general. And as simple as that may be, that's an amazing lesson to teach a child. An absolutely amazing lesson. Thank you guys for the thumbs up. I appreciate it. Once again, don't forget, tap the screen a couple of times. You'll see a thumbs up. YouTube love the thumbs up. Also, don't forget to give us some hearts. Hit the hearts, man, as many times as you can. Show us some love. But yeah, you're absolutely right, Andrea. Just to see the glow on their faces when they achieve something. My little granddaughter, Malia, she has a thing where she will do something and she would get so excited and she'll just yell the words, "I did it! I did it!" with this ball of excitement, this hunger for achieving. If she's able to open her little water bottle, she'll just say, "Yeah, I did it." And simple little things like that are building blocks to how these young kids are going to develop into to adulthood, and through adolescence to be teenagers, and you know inwards onto their 20s, and so on and so forth. These types of things are lifelong experiences that we have to We have to allow these kids to go through these processes and to enjoy these valued moments, because not everything is about buying a toy from the store or just going to the store to get a fruit. Pick a fruit from a tree. Sit down and make a toy with your child. Make a kite, make a paper airplane, whatever it may be. Things that seem very mundane and simple can drive home a lifelong experience and enable. Just imagine how far fetched this is, that you sit down and you make a paper airplane with your child, and the child is just sailing this paper airplane back and forth, and next thing you know, this child developed a love for aviation. Next thing you know, they're flying jets for a living, or working in the aviation industry, or all because they fell in love with the way that paper airplane just glide through the sky. They fell in love with that. So simple things that we think that are simple things can have a large impact on someone's lives, or just someone in general. You know, Absolutely, Andrea. Andrea is saying it sounds like they have a solid foundation. We try to create a solid foundation. That foundation that is created is something that is it's something that has stemmed from us growing up. You know, us growing up. No, I came from Jamaica when I was 9 years old, and Lo came when she was three. Okay, but we grew up in Toronto. Not only did we grow up in Toronto, we also grew up in a fairly rough part of Toronto, where you had to we learned to stand up early. We learned to stand up quite early, and I'm saying so to say that we have known each other since we were in grade 8, if you guys can believe it. Since we we're in grade 8, and we grew together. We went through high school together. We went through college together. The whole 9 yards, and so we both share a lot of the same values, right? We both share a lot of the same values, and those values that we share is what has brought us this far, where we can now pass those values on to the younger generation, and teach them that, yes, you can do it, no matter what it is, as long as two people share common goals, you can achieve those goals, whatever it may be. You know, no matter how far fetched you think it is, or how unachievable you think it may be. If you stick to your goals, stick to your guns, you can achieve, right? And that's part of the thing of teaching a lot of these young people. I met a lady the other day. I was at a patty shop, and we just started talking, because one of the things I find that with that particular store, and I think they have one of the best patties in Toronto. Part of my problem with them is I can't seem to get a box of frozen patties that I can take home, pop in my air fryer at my convenience at 300 degrees for 12 minutes, and have the perfect beef patty or veg patty or chicken patty at home. Okay, I can't get that. So in order for me to get a box of patties, I have to literally order it today, pay for it today, and pick it up tomorrow. And these guys being considered one of the best in Toronto, it's very popular. So it's just hard to get a box. So anyway, we were having a conversation about that, and it turned out that she's a lady that runs a charitable organization that works with young people and encouraging young people to want to stay on the right path, because as you guys know, it's very easy to fall off the rails as a young person with all the various negative influences that are out there. So when you meet a person like that have dedicated their life to helping young people, you can't help but embrace them. You can't help but embrace them, and want to know more. And I told her about my YouTube channel, and one of the things she said is that there are some kids there that are showing an interest in wanting to start a YouTube channel. Would you guys be able to come by and have a conversation with them, and encourage them and teach them and guide them and so on? And absolutely, I said right away, absolutely, we would love to. you know I said, furthermore to that, one of the things is I belong to a group of golfers. Probably about, I'm going to say about 45 to 50 golfers that are from various disciplines in life, whether you're guys from the medical field, business, aviation, trade, you name it. But we all get together during the golf season and we play a lot of golf together. We network a lot. We support each other. A lot of these guys, we're more than happy if they're invited out to come out and speak to and encourage these young people to want to achieve and be guidance to them, so these young people know and realize that whatever in life that it is that you want to pursue, we're here to help you and to guide you, because we have to do this as a community. Because as my mother will always tell you, one hand can't clap. You need that other hand, right? So it's about each one teach one. Each one teach one, to guide one, to encourage one. And this, if we all do our little part within this world, within the community that we live in STEM, within the country, within the world, within the universe, just imagine how much better and how much further ahead we would be as people, as human beings, right? Because you're only as good as your weakest link. So if that weak link ought to be strengthened, then we all become strong. And this is how we have to look at life in itself. You know, you're out there as an adult or as a parent, and you see a child being distressed, whether that child is lost or suffered an injury. You're not just going to walk past the child. You're going to stop. You're going to find out what's wrong. You're going to ask, how can I help you? You're going to help them. You may want to call their parents, whatever the case may be, but you're going to support that child. And this is how we ought to be as a community, is support each other no matter, you know, what it takes. Just support each other, be neighborly, be a human being. Let's get back to that, because way too many people out there will, you know, they see a situation and the first instinct is to pull out their cell phone and start filming. Not to help, not to help, but to pull out their cell phone and start filming, because that to them is the most important thing. I mean, whatever happened to humanity? We've completely lost track of the fact that, you know, we are human beings and we're here to help our fellow human beings, you know. All right, Andrea, bless up yourself. Andrea's got to go do pickup and pick up the little ones from school. Thanks for stopping by. We appreciate you. All 4K videos, thumbs up, big up on yourself. And I appreciate all you guys that have stuck around with us. We greatly appreciate it. So I want to thank you guys for coming out. I'm probably going to give this live maybe another, well, I figure I'll give it an hour. So I've got about 7 minutes remaining. So let me know what you guys want to talk about in the 7 minutes we have left. This is my first live by myself without Lo. So I am sailing the ship today. I want to just test market and see if me can do it. Them say me can't. Like my granddaughter said when I told her, when I said to her that I'm going to go live, she looked at me bewildered. Is grandma not coming on the live? You say, you can't do a live without her. I say, yes, I can. I can try. So here I am. Here I am doing my first live. And I appreciate it, guys. I appreciate the support. Appreciate you guys coming out, showing me some love. But don't forget, thumbs up. Just hit that screen twice. And if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, subscribe and tell a friend to tell a friend for forward another host and make we talk the things, because on this channel, we will talk about anything that is happening, current affairs, current event happenings. It don't matter. We, as the audience, we dictate what it is that we talk about, what discussion we have. Sometimes, you know, there are people out there without a community and looking for a community. Well, here's a community for you. Let's all build it together. Let's get together and build this community and develop it and mold it into the way we want to establish a community, and a community that is supportive of each other every step of the way, encouraging of each other, and we will build, develop, grow, and strive together. All right. So that's where we're going with this thing, guys. It's been a great afternoon of just chilling out with you guys. I know some people are probably just at work, just chilling, listening to the audio. Hey, listen, any way you can get the energy, because it's all about good energy, good vibe, good friends, good people. And that's all we want. That's all we want, because that in itself is encouragement to help us to get through our day. Be it that you're sitting at work and you might have just come out of a meeting, or you might be on a little coffee break, and you can listen to, you know, to me at this moment, or Nino and Lo on the channel. It gives you that bit of, breaking the monotony of work and duties by just releasing your mind, releasing your stresses, because there's a certain level of energy that comes with being around positive vibration, and that will resonate throughout. You're around positive vibration, your energy now becomes positive. With positive energy comes positive practice, positive feeling about you yourself as well as your surrounding. Right? Yes, sir. I like that. A beautiful day. Are you saying I should be going live outdoor next time? I listen. 4K, I completely agree with you, man. I would love to be outside going live right now. It'd be great, but here's me. Here's me. You see, when I get my grass going and the garden is getting going, and I can sit outside with a cool beverage of some kind, man, it would be my pleasure to be out there. As Jay's saying, it might be cold, Jay. It is a little chilly, but here in Toronto, I'm gonna say the weather is pretty decent out there. It's pretty decent. I stuck my head out because I wanted to grab the mail from the mailbox, and it wasn't bad. I can actually go out there with a light sweater and feel very comfortable. But I don't want to feel cold at all, and I want to be able to be outside. And I think if I start seeing 3 or 4 consistent days of decent warm weather, I'm going to start heading outside and start doing some yard work, because I'm going to have to go through. I'm going to have to be treating my lawn with grub killers to ensure that I do, because I do preventative maintenance on it, where every year from about June into about the end of May into June, July, I put the grub killers out there, because that is when the already existing grubs that are in there are laying the larvas. Okay, and as they lay their larvas and they leave the larva in the grass, those white grubs then become beetles and they fly away. But as they fly away, they're not planning to return, because they have the larvas already there implanted in the ground, and those larvas are going to then develop to be grubs next season, and they're going to be eating away at your grass, the roots of your grass, and kill your grass. So the best time to treat it is when the larvae are laid. That's when I go out there with my grub killer, and I just completely destroy their life, completely destroy them, just disrupt everything. You know. Hey, what's going on, Jamaican Queen Lifestyle? Big up yourself. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the chat. You know. Welcome to the chat. Juicy with Jay saying, yeah, it's the Caribbean blood. We don't like no cold weather. We like the warm thing, isn't it? All right. We want to warm up the thing. So, yeah, man. So, once you can hit those grubs and destroy those larvas, you're shoe up. And then, of course, I'm going to be dethatching my lawn, lay down my grass seed as well as my fertilizer, you know. Look at this now. So we got Jamaican Queen Lifestyle saying big up, and she's asking where's the boss? Where's the CEO? Well, Jamaican Queen, she worked last night. As you know, she's a night nurse. Night nurse. Can't even sing it, but you know the thing. So she worked last night, came home this morning. She's fast asleep. I think she's got to return tonight. So I decided to just come on and try a thing. This is my first live, by the way. It's my first live by myself. Right? Anytime I've done it, it's always been with Lo. She does live by herself when When she have play with our plants, them, feed our plants and transplanting and all that. This is the first one for me, and my granddaughter was a little skeptical as to whether I could do it or not, saying that where's Granny? You need Granny. You can't do it by yourself. Jamaican Queen says she's gonna go out in the yard today. Hey, Reds, Wagwan Reds, big up yourself. Nino squad. Reds in the room. Hi guys, say hello to Reds. Reds room. Reds room. I was in a chat room this morning, and were you there? Yeah. I think you were there, Reds room. Jamaican Queen might have been as well. I'm not sure, but yeah, man. Big up, big up. I appreciate you guys coming out. Trying a thing for real. I don't really do the live by myself. Do it with Lo, but see it there. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. What you got to do. So one of the things that we're just talking about, just before you guys chimed in, is the fact that as adults and as people, we have to encourage these youngsters. We have to encourage them to stay on the rail because it's so easy nowadays to fall off the rails, right? For them, there's a lot of negative reinforcement out there, and the negative reinforcements that are out there seems to be superseding the positive, right? So we have to take back with life. I have to take back with kids them, take back the people them, and let them know that yes, the negativity is out there, but we can also provide positivity. And there's a lot of people out there, a lot of groups are willing to work with these kids to encourage them to walk a straight line. When you fall off the rails, I'm there to pick you up and put you back on the rails. And we go back to this whole philosophy of each one teach one. And that's how we got to be. Each one teach one. Because like I said earlier, my mother said, one hand can't clap, you need two, right? So we have to do that. And that is how we're going to progress as a society, as a community, as people, is by being supportive of each other and ensure that these kids, not only are we supportive of them, but they also take responsibility for their action and their behavior because they must learn that there are consequences. There are consequences, and as much as there are consequences, there are also on the opposite side, there's also rewards for doing the right thing. If you don't do the right thing, there are going to be consequences. If you do the right thing, there's going to be reward. So, again, which do you prefer? What is it that you want? You know. Yes, Reds, waiting for his son by the school. Real talk, Red said. Jamaican Queen, big up yourself. Yeah, man, we have to go on and just encourage one another. I say I don't know if you guys realize, but I am an avid golfer. I play a tremendous amount of golf. Have been and have developed quite a network with roughly, and it depends on what year, 45 to 50 other gentlemen from all different, shall we say, facets of career choices. It just goes across all streamlines of career choices. So there's quite a variety of guys. So it's funny, somebody the other day had mentioned in the group, hey, I'm trying to pull a will together. Anyone out there that can help? And about three lawyers chimed up and say, yeah, give me a call. So that kind of thing where you need something and you put the word out there, somebody's gonna react to it, you know. But that's the kind of encouragement that we see, and guys there are always willing to work and to be a mentor to these young people, you know. Be a mentor to them. And a lot of times we have to bear in mind, and as Jamaican Queen Lifestyles make a mention here, that to encourage them, okay, rather than breaking them down. Because a lot of times, as you know, people living in around negativity, they'll get negative conversation or negative reaction from people. Like somebody I say, yeah, you're good for nothing. But if you keep telling somebody they're good for nothing, they're gonna eventually believe that. And if they believe that, they're gonna grow up thinking that, right? Encourage them, no matter what it is. There's no two child out there that are the same. There's no two child that learn the same at the same pace, but you have to continue to encourage them, right? You have to continue to encourage them and also make them realize the consequences of actions, be it be negative or positive, right? And reinforce that. We gotta say, we gotta actually reach out to them with good positive messages, because good positive vibes, because those same kids, those same kids, those are our future. Those are the future, and we have to. And it all depends on how good or how bad we want the future to be. We encourage them. We should have a good future. We all should have a good future. You know, we all can have a good future, but we have to ensure we take care of whatever the weakest link is, nurture it. And that's why with us, Lo and I, you'll see we have a lot of positive interaction, not just with our grandkids, but we have a lot of nieces and nephews, a lot of nieces and nephews. And it gave me great pleasure. It's probably it's during the COVID time when we got together, and I remember one of my nephew was in the backyard, and we are having a little barbecue, and came in, and it honestly is I can feel my heart, I can feel my heart smiling, because one of the things that he said is that, you see these people, a them raise me, a them raise me, and he's absolutely right, because in his life growing up, we were the only positive reinforcement that he had in terms of a core family structure. So they were always at our home. They're always around us. And what happened when they're around that positivity is they start to adapt that in their lives and realize that they too can do that. And now they all have families of their own, right? And not only do they have families of their own, but they also understand what it is to encourage your family, encourage your kids, and build that core and ensure that you instill certain values in them, right? So they grew up in a situation, they saw, and now they're repeating the behaviors that they learned. So if you flip that on the opposite side, now they grew up in an environment that's hostile, that's violent, that's volatile. They will then start practicing that because that is what they know. You become a product of your environment. But if you pull them into an environment that reinforces positivity, then you will in turn see the practices of positivity from them. And that is what we'd always hoped to achieve and accomplished. That is what we have and continue to do. Now we're on to the next generation with my little grandkids coming about, and we're expecting a third one within the next couple of months. So we're all excited about that. All right, this time it's gonna be a little bambino. You know, we've got two little girls, two little princess, and we're gonna get the prince next. I just feel sorry for the little guy because these two, Ting One and Ting Two, oh my goodness, they're very strong will girls, very strong will, and there's nothing that you can tell them that they can't do. They don't even buy that because since birth, we've always instilled in them that you can do whatever you want. You can be whoever you want. Okay. The other day, I recall the oldest of the two grandchild called her grandmother, and I'm listening to the conversation, and she said, "It's okay, Grandma. I'm going to share my screen with you." And how she knows how to share a screen, I had no idea. But she was sharing her screen with her grandmother. These kids are born with technology at their fingertips, and they're very astute when it comes to picking things up and demonstrating or repeating the behavior of what they've seen. So we got to ensure that we do this positive. Oh, there's definitely going to be a lot of excitement in the house. There, there's definitely going to be highlight of my summer. I'm going to share this with you guys. Highlight of my summer is going to be to have a watermelon party with my two granddaughters. Okay. When the oldest one was a year and a half, I had a watermelon party with just her. And we had such a blast. Last summer, When I had the two girls, we tried to coordinate a watermelon party. Couldn't do it. So Zuri and Malia and I have been talking about it for several months now. And one of the things that she, especially Zuri, because she's very outspoken, she'll make it clear to you that you can come to the party, but you're going to come to the party to take pictures, but you can't participate in the party. The party's only going to be for me, that's Zuri speaking, me, Malia, and Grandpa. That's it. Not even Grandma is allowed to come to the party. She's only allowed to take pictures and do video. Because the party, she insists that the party has to be just the three of us. So I'm really looking forward to that. And my plans are I'm just gonna lay out a, if even a piece of tarp or just to go on the grass, I'm gonna pop open a couple watermelons and we're just gonna go crazy. We're just gonna have it all over our faces and our clothes and it's just gonna be fun. We're just gonna have fun with it. And I'm so looking forward to it. And these are the types of things that, you know, when I'm no longer around, my granddaughter is going to remember that. I remember when I had that watermelon party with Grandpa. I remember that, and they'll talk about that, and they'll share that information with their kids, who would share it with the next generation, and so on and so forth. And Grandpa Nino is going to be known as the watermelon party grandpa. And this is how legacies are created. You know, This is how, hey, you're right. You're absolutely right, Jamaican Queen lifestyle. That is how memories are created. Absolutely. So we're all about creating the memory, creating the positivity, running along and having the really rich vibe and encouragement to young kids that feel a bit disenfranchised, and they're out there, man. Every time I walk around, I see a young man that just, or a young lady that just looks that they're a little unsure. Either their confidence have been rattled or they're unsure about who they are as a person. I love having conversations with strangers, because one of the first thing that we do, one of the first mistakes that we do, is we pass an immediate judgment on someone without even knowing who they are or knowing their circumstance. We pass a judgment. Let us do this. Let us not pass a judgment. Go up to that person, say hello, hi, how are you? Share a cup of coffee with them. Share a cup of coffee with that person, and you would be amazed what an awesome person that person is. But none of us take the time to want to know a person. We just want to pass judge. A guy will stop me on the street and he'll say, "Hey, can you spare 50 cents or can you spare $1?" All of a sudden, I pass a judgment. What a bum. What do you mean begging? You have no idea what that person's circumstances. That person could be haven't had a meal in days and they so desperately want that money to buy. But automatically, we think within our minds, we automatically think something negative. That person could be in a situation where they might have ran away from home. Maybe home was a pretty volatile situation. Maybe a situation that just wasn't conducive, and they removed themselves from that. And here they are. They're thrown out of the pot, out of the frying pan into the fire, because they're out there reaching out for help, and the help that's coming to them is being ridiculed and criticized and judged. And I mean that's discouraging for anyone. You know, I'm telling you, man. Broken home situation, bro. I sympathize with you there, Red's room. You know, I did not have that growing up due to a broken home situation. A&I Family Adventure, welcome, welcome. We love having you guys. So, in saying so, Red's Room, I too grew up in broken home situation. I too grew up in homes. What's popping, A&I family? What's going on? Welcome to the conversations this afternoon. We love having you. Big up on yourself. I too had situations. I said when I came to Canada when I was 9 years old. I had that situation in while growing up in Jamaica. I grew up with an abusive stepmother that just, in my opinion, just hated me for no reason. And when I came to Canada to now live with my mom, and my siblings, I welcome the change, but it was out of the frying pan into the fire, because I then find myself in a situation where I had an abusive stepfather. So it was like, how do I get away from this BS? You know? And there's so many people, but I got out of all that. I escaped all that, and I came out on the other side a better person because of the person that I am. Because I took a lot of negativity, and I had this innate ability to flip negativity. So every time you came to me with negative, I had a way to flip it into making it work to me and for me as a positive, right? I had a way to flip it and make it work to me as a positive, and I knew within myself, and I believed in myself, and I believed in my ability, and I believed in who I am as a person. So I never gave in to that negativity. The crazy part is there are a lot of young people out there that don't have that kind of confidence within themselves. And it conquers them, you know? It conquers them. It gets the better of them. And then it, it, I mean, it's a dangerous thing, man. It's a dangerous thing. We have to try and be there for these young people. My kids would never go through that. Saying a Red's room, my kids will never go through that. They get my 100% unconditional love, man. Kudos to you on that, my brother. I respect that. I so love that. And that's how it should be. That's how it should be. There's just way too many people out there in the community, and I'm gonna say not just people out there, but especially fathers that aren't there for their kids, man. They need that. That is so important to their growth and their development. Even if you don't reside with the child, you can still be a father. You just have to ensure that your presence is always there, right? Being a father is not just to see a money, buy this, but no, your physical presence, you being there, the encouragement is important to them. You can't put money on that. That's priceless. Okay, that is absolutely priceless. What's going on, Bluebird? Welcome to the channel. I love seeing all my people coming out supporting. You know, I love that. But yeah, we have to ensure, man, we encourage these young people, right? And we go back. Shall get another perspective and more time to spend with them. Absolutely. Absolutely. And we started, I just want to recap and go back to this conversation where I made mention earlier that Lo and I have known each other since grade 8, and we share a lot of the same values. And in sharing a lot of the same values is why we're able. If you do notice and you watch a lot of our program, you'll notice a certain connectivity, right? Where there are times when I can finish her sentence or she can finish mine. That's why, because we've been together for a long time. And that in itself is because we both share, common goals, and we both had common values. And with those values, we have passed that down to generations. Now we're on the third generation and we're passing it down to, where when I had, nieces and nephews all used to live with us along with our kids, and the same rules applied across the board. The same rules applied. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are, what you think you are. You're all my children. And you will all fall under the same rules, the same guidelines, and the same regulations, no matter what. Okay? I grew up with a wonderful lady by the name of Catherine Williams that had 3 biological kids of her own, but she had lots of other kids around her, me being one of them. And one of the things I learned from that lady is that she had one slice of bread, she was going to cut it in as many pieces, as many equal pieces as there were kids around. So I learned those values from a very early age and continue to practice them. You know, Bluebird is saying, yes, you can see you both truly know each other. Absolutely. We feed off of each other, and it's absolutely remarkable. You know, my man Red's room out there is saying I came to Canada around the same time, and I know the struggles you speak about. Absolutely. We grew up in the Jane and Finch community, and as if anybody on here that know anything about the Jane and Finch community, you know it was a struggle. But the one thing I can tell you is that we made a pact. And of course, I made a pact within myself that you see that life, that alternative life, that wasn't for me. I knew out of the gate a long time ago it wasn't for me. I wasn't about to do anything that was outside the scope. I stayed within the scope. My focus was mainly education because I knew that was my ticket. I knew that was my ticket out. But in doing so, you had to keep your nose clean. And in keeping your nose clean, you have to recognize that you got to have all sorts of friends. And you will have all sorts of friends because of your subject of your environment. But you don't have to do something that they're doing if you know within yourself that it's not something that's right. You don't have to, you know. You don't have to do that. Yes, you're absolutely right, Red's room. We do connect. We connect in a very special way, and it's been a lot of years. It's been a lot of years. So the kid, one of my niece had mentioned to me that growing up, they couldn't even imagine they couldn't even imagine Lo without Nino and Nino without Lo. They couldn't imagine because that's all they've ever known their whole lives, and they themselves have grown up to be adults themselves and have a family of their own and having kids of their own. That some of them are near having kids on top of kids, right? That's how old these kids are, and we just act, and we were very much a pillar to them and act as an encouraging force and give them something to strive for, to want to become, to want to be, you know. And that's the honest truth, man. It goes back to, we go back to the old neighborhood and reminisce about the fields that we used to trample through as we were going back and forth from school, you know. We share some of the. I mean, Lo and I, we share some of the same friends because we've had the same friends from junior high school through college, some even through work. We've had a lot of the same friends. So we a lot of people I know she knows, a lot of people she knows I know. So it's just been that's just how it's been, you know. Yeah, a bluebird is saying these days people are dating people online and across the world through adventures. Why is it may not be good for most adventures? Yeah, it's very interesting. It's upbringing becomes a real challenge. Absolutely, bluebird. I completely agree with you. You're absolutely right. People nowadays don't really take the time to get to know each other, and this is why for us and especially in this world of YouTube, and we we have slowly and very organically grow this network, and we've grown this network with all of you guys that lend your support each and every day, and we do this. Somebody asked me this a few months ago. I said, "Oh man, you got a YouTube channel. You must be making a lot of money." I said, "Money?" I said, "Is that all you think about?" Because I'll tell you something. Whatever coin that I might have earned from YouTube is not even 1% of all the money that I've spent on this. Especially when you're doing all that cooking and buying and preparing, and sometimes we go out and buy stuff and we have it in mind that we're going to prepare all these items, and they end up going spoiled because we just don't have the time to do all of that, you know. And what it is it's a labor of love. This is a labor of love for us. This is something that we truly enjoy doing. And we do this because we enjoy it. There's no other way. There's absolutely no other way. And something that we've built organically, one brick at a time. We've not taken any kind of shortcut, one brick at a time. Because when we build this, we know we're gonna build this to last, because the people that we're attracting and the energy that we're attracting is going to be nothing but positive, you know, nothing but positive. Red's room, that is why these relationships or marriages don't work. Absolutely. People don't take the time to get to know each other, you know. Yeah, man. And creating content is difficult. Jamaica Queens. Yeah, it is difficult. It's a lot of hard work. And any of us out here that are content creator, we know the work and the effort we put into this is enormous. It's a lot of effort. It takes a lot out of us.
And I can ask you didn't need
Bluebird is saying, these days it appears that these people online are all actors. They come in and dressed up and act different. Yeah, they're just acting. We just come out here, we just ourselves. We love the idea of just being ourselves. We are ourselves. And this is why when we created a whole segment on the Farmer window, and again, we did that on a dare from our adult kids. They don't think that we could have done it. We just we just talk. We just oh my goodness. We just talk, you know? Yes. I agree with you, Bluebird. Do take the time to get to know each other. And we will embrace, come on, baby. We will embrace our similarities as well as we'll embrace our differences. And that's what makes us all very unique. This is my other little one. She just woke up from her slumber. Say hi, Mama. Say hi. Say hi. Say hi.
Hi.
Say hi. Let me kiss. Right. Yes. She just woke up from her slumber. I put her down a little while ago, and she come creeping downstairs. Now she has the ability where she can open the door. So she'll get up out of bed, open the door, right?
Yeah.
I remember putting her in the room. I just gotten some new golf balls. I was going away on my golf trip back in January, and I put her to sleep, and I thought she was in the room sleeping. So when I got in the room, I look at Malia had ripped open the entire bag of golf balls, and they're all over the place. You remember that?
Yeah.
And the bag of teas, everything is just sprinkled everywhere. She's up there having a grand old time. You want to go down? Okay, go in the playroom. Go in the playroom and have fun, okay? Don't touch Granny's plants, though. What's wrong? It's just a coat. There's nothing there, honey. Look. Look. It's just a coat. Look. Go on. Go ahead. It's okay. Go to the playroom. No? She wants to stick next to me. She doesn't want to go. You don't want to go to the playroom? No? Okay. All right. Well, guys, it's lovely having you guys here. Awesome. Yes, this is my cute little grand. Oh, come here, Mama. Mama, come here.
We're gonna come to the playroom.
Come here so I can have both you guys on camera. Come. Come. Malia, Zura's calling you to the playroom. Come say hi to all our YouTube family. Come on. Sit down. Look, there they are. There's my two, Ting 1 and Ting 2. Say hi.
Hi.
Say hi.
Hi.
Okay, now say bye because you gotta go.
Bye.
Okay, guys, it's wonderful having you guys here. Thank you so much for spending your afternoon with us. We will see you guys on the flip side. Be good, be blessed, keep the positive vibe going, and big up on ourselves. In? All right, blessings.